Have you ever been told you have your mom's nose or you have your dad's sense of humor? Those unique characteristics that make you who you are, your eye color, your height, your natural hair texture, are not random. They're passed down to you from your parents through a process called heredity. Today, we're going to unlock the scientific rules that govern how these amazing traits move from one generation to the next. The formal study of this process, heredity, is called genetics. Think of every organism as having a secret instruction manual or a blueprint hidden inside its cells. This blueprint tells the cell exactly what to build and how to operate. The individual chapters of this instruction manual, which each code for a specific trait, are what we call genes. Genes are the fundamental units of inheritance. So what are genes actually made of? They are segments of an incredible molecule called DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. You may have seen the famous spiral staircase shape, the double helix. If you could unwind the DNA from just one of your cells, it would be about 6 feet long. DNA is the master code because it contains the instructions, written in a chemical alphabet, for making all the proteins that keep your body running. To keep that 6-foot-long strand of DNA manageable, the cell has a brilliant packaging system. The DNA is tightly spooled and coiled around special proteins, eventually forming compact rod-like structures called chromosomes. These are housed safely inside the cell's nucleus. It's a precise system. Every human cell, except for sex cells, contains 46 chromosomes, arranged in 23 perfect pairs. Let's look closer at the gene. A gene is the instruction for a trait, like eye color. But there are different options for that instruction. For eye color, the options could be brown, blue, green, or hazel. These different versions of the same gene are called alleles. You might get the brown eye allele from your mom and the blue eye allele from your dad. It's the combination of these alleles that determines what you look like. You get your full set of genetic instructions from both parents. When a sperm cell and an egg cell combine during reproduction, each contributes exactly half of the genetic material, 23 chromosomes each. Because you get one allele for every gene from each parent, you always have a pair of alleles for every trait. This ensures you have 2 votes for every trait, even if one vote usually wins out. We owe our basic understanding of this process to a monk named Gregor Mendel. Back in the 1800s, before anyone knew what DNA was, Mendel spent years carefully observing and crossing thousands of pea plants in his monastery garden. He noticed that traits, like plant height or pea color, weren't blended, but were passed down as distinct, predictable units. His meticulous work laid the entire foundation for modern genetics, earning him the title Father of Genetics. Point: one of Mendel's most important discoveries was the principle of dominance. He realized that for many traits, one allele is stronger, or dominant, and will hide the effect of the weaker, or recessive allele. If you inherit one dominant allele for brown eyes and one recessive allele for blue eyes, you'll have brown eyes. The only way to show the recessive trait, blue eyes, is to inherit 2 copies of that recessive allele. In genetics, we use 2 specific terms to describe a trait. First is the genotype. This is the genetic code itself, the actual combination of alleles you inherited. We represent the genotype using letters, like BB, BB, or BB. This is the internal recipe card that no one can see, but which holds the potential for the physical trait. The second term is the phenotype. The phenotype is the physical manifestation of the genotype. It's the trait you can see. If your genotype is BB or BB, your phenotype is brown eyes. If your genotype is BB, your phenotype is blue eyes. The genotype is the code. The phenotype is the final observable outcome, like the color of the petals on a flower. When an organism inherits 2 copies of the same allele, we say its genotype is homozygous. If both are the dominant allele, example BB for brown eyes, it's homozygous dominant. If both are the recessive allele, example BB for blue eyes, it's homozygous recessive. In both cases, the organism is considered pure for that trait, meaning it only carries that one version of the gene. An organism that inherits two different alleles for a trait, for example, has a heterozygous genotype. In simple dominant recessive patterns, this individual will always display the dominant phenotype. They will have brown eyes. However, they are also considered a carrier because they carry the recessive allele hidden inside their genetic code and can potentially pass it on to their offspring. How do geneticists predict the outcome of a cross? They use a simple diagram called a Punnett square. It's basically a probability chart. By placing the alleles of one parent on the top and the alleles of the other parent on the side, you can easily map out all the 4 possible combinations of alleles that their offspring could inherit. It's a powerful tool for predicting genetic ratios. Let's trace an example on a Punnett square. If you cross 2 parents who are both heterozygous for brown eyes, BB times BB, you write the B and B from one parent along the top, and the B and B from the other parent along the side. Then, you simply fill in the boxes by combining the alleles from the margins. Each box represents a 25% chance of that specific genotype occurring in the offspring. When you complete that BB times BB cross, the Punnett square reveals the probabilities. For the genotype, you find a 1-to-1 ratio, 1 chance of BB, 2 chances of BB, and 1 chance of BB. But for the phenotype, the visible trait, the dominant allele hides the recessive one. So you get a 3-to-1 ratio, 3 chances of having the dominant trait, brown eyes, for every 1 chance of having the recessive trait, blue eyes. Mendel's simple dominance isn't the only way traits are inherited. In some cases, you have incomplete dominance. Think of mixing paint. When a dominant and a recessive allele mix, the result is a brand new, blended phenotype. For example, if you cross a red flower with a white flower, the offspring aren't red or white. They are pink. Neither allele completely dominates the other. Another unique pattern is codominance. Unlike incomplete dominance, where the traits blend, codominance means both alleles are fully and equally expressed at the same time. The traits appear together. A classic example is a chicken that inherits the allele for black feathers and the allele for white feathers. The result isn't gray, but a chicken with both black and white speckled feathers. Some traits are specifically carried on the sex chromosomes, the X and Y chromosomes that determine biological sex. These are called sex-linked traits. Because males only have one X chromosome, they are much more likely to express traits controlled by recessive alleles on that chromosome, like color blindness. Females have 2 X chromosomes, so they have a better chance of a dominant allele masking the recessive one. Occasionally, there's a typo in the genetic instruction manual. A mutation is any random change that occurs in the DNA sequence. This can happen during cell division when the DNA is copied, or it can be caused by external factors like radiation. While we often think of mutations as negative, many have no effect at all, and some rare mutations can actually be beneficial, driving evolution. The science of genetics didn't stop with Mendel. Today, our understanding of the gene is used in incredible ways. Genetic engineering allows scientists to fix faulty genes to treat diseases. Forensics uses unique DNA fingerprints to identify criminals or victims. And agricultural science uses genetics to create drought-resistant crops. The cell's blueprint is the foundation for some of the most exciting breakthroughs in modern science.